Chapter 1: The Unexpected Encounter. It was a rainy evening in London. Alex, a young artist, walked into an art gallery feeling lost and alone after his recent breakup. The dimly lit room was filled with people sipping wine and admiring art pieces hung on walls painted in rich colors. As he turned a corner, his eyes met those of a woman standing alone by one of his paintings, a portrait titled Echoes. Her gaze held something profound, a mix of sadness and longing that resonated deeply with him. The woman had long, dark hair and piercing green eyes that seemed to see right through him. She was dressed in a simple yet elegant black dress that complemented her slender figure. Alex felt drawn to her instantly. He approached her slowly, not wanting to break the spell of the moment. "Your eyes seem to understand this painting," he said softly. She smiled faintly and replied, "I think it understands me." They talked for hours about art, life, and everything in between. Their connection was immediate and deep. Before parting ways, they exchanged numbers. "I'd love to see you again," Alex said as they stood outside the gallery under the rain. "I'd like that," she replied with a gentle smile. Her name was Emily. Chapter 2: The Whispers of Fate. The next day found them sitting across from each other at a cozy cafe near Trafalgar Square. Over steaming cups of coffee, they talked about everything from their dreams to their fears. Emily spoke about her love for literature and poetry while Alex shared his passion for painting. There was an ease between them that neither could explain, but both felt deeply. As they laughed together over silly jokes and shared stories of childhood memories, it felt like they had known each other for years rather than just hours. "I feel so comfortable around you," Emily said as she reached out to touch his hand lightly. "I know exactly what you mean," Alex replied with a warm smile. Their conversation flowed effortlessly until it was time to part ways again. "Would you like to meet tomorrow?" Alex asked hopefully. "Yes," Emily said without hesitation. And so began their daily meetings, each one filled with laughter, tears, and moments that made them feel alive. Chapter 3: The Shadows of the Past. As days turned into weeks, their connection grew stronger yet remained shrouded in mystery due to Emily's reluctance to discuss her past openly. One evening at her apartment, a small studio filled with books and sketches, she let slip hints about running away from something or someone. "I've been on my own for a while now," she said quietly as she poured them glasses of wine. "What happened?" Alex asked gently but curiously. Emily hesitated before speaking in hushed tones. "I had to leave home when I was younger. It wasn't safe anymore." Alex sensed there was more but didn't push further. He knew she'd tell him when she was ready. Instead, he took her hand reassuringly. "You're safe now." For a moment, they just looked at each other, two souls connected by unseen threads. Chapter 4: The Web of Secrets. Determined to understand what haunted her so deeply, Alex began piecing together clues left behind in casual conversations or hidden messages within sketches she'd drawn when distracted or upset during their time together. He noticed small details like how she'd flinch at certain sounds or how her eyes would cloud over when talking about specific places. One night while walking through Hyde Park under starlit skies filled with laughter from couples strolling hand in hand nearby, they stumbled upon an old bench where someone had carved initials, E+J. "Who is J?" Alex asked casually, but with curiosity brewing inside him, already aware something wasn't quite right here either now too. Emily's expression changed instantly. Fear flickered across those beautiful green eyes, before she quickly masked it again behind another smile, though this time less convincing than usual. "Just someone from long ago," she said, hastily changing subject altogether, avoiding any further discussion regarding this particular topic altogether. But Alex knew better. He saw through facade easily enough, realizing there must be more behind story here somewhere, still waiting patiently uncover truth eventually, no matter what took get there first. Chapter 5: The Trail of Clues. The Discovery. One evening, as they walked through a quiet alleyway in the older part of London, Alex noticed Emily pause briefly in front of an old, dilapidated mansion. The house seemed out of place among the modern buildings surrounding it, its grandeur faded but still evident. The curiosity. That night, after Emily had fallen asleep, Alex found himself unable to rest. His mind kept wandering back to the mansion and the fleeting look of recognition on Emily's face when she saw it. He decided to investigate further. The journey to the mansion. The next day, under the guise of needing some fresh air and inspiration for his art, Alex set out towards the mansion. The walk was longer than he anticipated, but his curiosity propelled him forward. As he approached the house, he felt a shiver run down his spine. Something about this place seemed foreboding yet intriguing. Inside the mansion, pushing open the creaky front door, Alex stepped into a world frozen in time. Dust-covered chandeliers hung from ceilings adorned with intricate moldings, and cobweb-covered portraits lined the walls. He wandered through room after room, each one telling a silent story of past grandeur and current neglect. The hidden room. In one of the upper floors, behind a bookshelf that swung open like a door, Alex discovered a hidden room. It was small and dimly lit by a single window high up on one wall. The room was cluttered with old trunks, boxes filled with letters tied with ribbons, and photographs scattered across a small desk. The photographs. Among the photographs were pictures of Emily at different ages. Some showing her as a child with parents who looked happy but worried. Others depicting her as a teenager with friends who seemed to be shielding her from something or someone. And finally, recent photos showing her alone or with people whose faces were scratched out or blurred beyond recognition. The letters. As he untied one of the ribbons binding together a bundle of letters addressed to E. Alex felt like he was intruding on private moments but couldn't help himself from reading them. They were written by someone named James, someone who professed undying love but also spoke of obsession and possession in ways that made Alex's skin crawl. The message. On one letter dated recently was scribbled, "You can't hide forever." Below it was an address. The same address as this mansion, and below that, "I'll find you." Alex realized then that Emily wasn't just running from her past, she was running for her life. Chapter 6: The Revelation. Confronting Emily. With this newfound knowledge weighing heavily on his heart and mind, Alex knew he had to confront Emily about what he'd discovered. But how could he do so without revealing his own intrusion into her secrets? That evening, as they sat in her apartment surrounded by the quiet of the night, Alex decided it was time to talk. "Emily," he began softly but firmly, "I need to know what's going on. I found something today that makes me think you're in danger." Emily's eyes widened slightly before she composed herself. "What are you talking about?" she asked cautiously. "I went to that old mansion," Alex admitted. "I saw photographs and letters from someone named James. He sounds dangerous." Emily sighed deeply before speaking in hushed tones. "James has been chasing me for years. He thinks he owns me because we were once together." "Why didn't you tell me?" Alex asked gently but with concern. "I didn't want to put you in danger," she replied tearfully. "But now that you know, I'm scared." Alex took her hand reassuringly. "We'll face this together." For a moment, they just looked at each other, two souls connected by unseen threads and now bound by a shared secret. Chapter 7: The Pursuit Begins. Living in hiding. With the revelation that James was still out there looking for her, Emily and Alex decided they needed to be more cautious. They started living in hiding, always looking over their shoulders as they tried to build a life together despite the danger looming over them. They moved from one place to another every few days, never staying long enough for anyone to track them down easily. It was exhausting but necessary if they wanted any chance at happiness together. One night while walking through a crowded market trying blend into crowd unnoticed, they heard footsteps behind them getting closer, each step taken nervously glancing back seeing shadowy figure following closely enough recognize face instantly. It was James. Chapter 8, The Betrayal. Ambushed. They thought they had found safety in an old friend's house on the outskirts of town. A secluded place where no one would think to look. But one night, as they were settling into what felt like a temporary haven, their peace was shattered. As they sat in the living room, hearing the sound of footsteps outside, Emily's eyes widened in fear. "It's him," she whispered, her voice trembling. Alex quickly got up and checked the windows, but it was too late. The door burst open, and James stood there, his eyes blazing with a mix of anger and obsession. "You can't hide from me forever, Emily," James spat, his voice dripping with malice. Emily stood up, her hands shaking but her voice firm. "Leave us alone, James. It's over." James sneered at Alex. "And who is this? Your new protector? He can't save you." In a split second, James lunged at them. Alex tried to defend himself and Emily, but James was too strong. He overpowered Alex and grabbed Emily, pulling her towards him. "No!" Alex shouted, struggling to get free. Emily fought back, but James was relentless. He dragged her out of the house, leaving Alex battered and helpless on the floor. Chapter 9, The Desperate Escape. Chasing after. Alex quickly regained his strength and set off after them. He ran through the dark streets, his heart pounding with fear for Emily's safety. As he chased after James's car, he realized how desperate their situation had become. He couldn't lose her now, not after everything they had been through together. The car sped away, but Alex managed to keep up for a while before losing sight of it in the crowded streets of London. Breathless and worried sick about what might happen next, Alex pulled out his phone and dialed a number he hoped would help him find Emily before it was too late. "Mike, it's Alex. I need your help," he said urgently into the phone. Mike was an old friend who worked as a detective. If anyone could help him track down James and rescue Emily, it was Mike. "I'll do everything I can," Mike promised over the phone, with newfound hope that they might still have a chance to save Emily from James's clutches. Alex waited anxiously for Mike's call back with any updates or leads on their whereabouts. Chapter 10, The Final Stand. The Confrontation. Days turned into nights as Alex waited anxiously for any news about Emily's whereabouts. Finally, Mike called back with information that led them straight to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. As they approached the warehouse cautiously under the cover of nightfall, shadows cast by flickering street lights outside the building walls looming large ahead, Alex felt determination coursing through his veins, ready to face whatever lay inside head-on, no matter the cost to his personal safety. Inside the warehouse, dimly lit only by faint moonlight filtering through grimy windows high above ground level below, they found themselves face to face once again against their formidable foe, James. "You'll never take her away from me again," James shouted wildly, his eyes blazing with fury, an uncontrollable rage building up inside him moment by moment. With adrenaline pumping hard through his system and heightened senses alert to every possible danger lurking around the corner, Alex prepared for a final confrontation. He knew it was crucial to protect Emily at all costs necessary. The air was tense as James lunged at them. Alex tried to defend himself and Emily, but James was too strong. In a desperate bid to save her, Alex managed to grab a nearby pipe and strike James, momentarily stunning him. "Run!" Alex shouted to Emily as he pushed her towards the door. But it was too late. James recovered quickly and attacked again. This time, in the chaos of the fight, Emily got gravely injured while trying to protect Alex. No? Alex screamed in horror as he saw Emily fall to the ground. James stood over them, victorious but momentarily stunned by his own actions. "You should have stayed out of this," he spat before turning and fleeing into the night. Chapter 11, The Heartbreaking Goodbye. The hospital room. Alex sat beside Emily in the hospital room, his heart heavy with grief. She lay there, her body broken but her spirit unshaken. "I'm so sorry," Alex whispered, holding her hand tightly. "I should have protected you better." Emily smiled weakly. "You did everything you could. I'm just glad you're safe." The doctor entered the room with a somber expression. "I'm afraid her injuries are too severe. She doesn't have much time left." Alex felt his world crumbling around him. He couldn't lose her now, not after everything they had been through together. Emily's voice was barely audible but full of love. "Alex, I want you to live your life fully without me. Don't let my death hold you back." Tears streamed down Alex's face as he nodded, unable to speak. "I love you," Emily whispered. "I love you too," Alex replied, his voice cracking with emotion. With one last look at him, Emily closed her eyes and took her final breath. Chapter 12, The Echoes Remain. Aftermath. Months passed since that fateful night. Alex was still grieving but found solace in painting again. This time inspired by his time with Emily. He realized that even though their love ended tragically, it changed him forever. One day, while cleaning out his studio, he found a sketchbook belonging to Emily. As he flipped through its pages filled with sketches and poems she had written during their time together, he felt her presence around him once more. He decided then that he would create an exhibition dedicated entirely to their story, a tribute not just to their love but also to her memory and the impact she had on his life. The exhibition, titled Echoes, became a huge success. People came from all over to see the paintings and read the poems that told their story, a story of love, loss, and the enduring power of human connection. As Alex stood among the crowds admiring his work, he felt Emily's spirit with him still, reminding him that even though she was gone physically, her love would always remain an echo in his heart forevermore.